Welcome to this series of readings of the Mechanization concept, a manifesto by the Great Divine Director. There are 22 parts to these releases by the Great Divine Director. He has asked that they be read in the order of their release. I am Caroline Hansky, the reader. The teachings were given by the Great Divine Director through the messenger Mark L. Prophet in 1965. Permission was granted for reading them and making them available to the general public in audio form. These readings are from Mark and Elizabeth Prophet, The Mechanization Concept, The Mysteries of God on the Creation of Mechanized Man, Pearls of Wisdom, Volume 8, Teachings of the Ascended Masters, Summit University Press, copyright Church Universal and Triumphant, 1965. They are also published as Mark L. Prophet, the Soulless One, Cloning a Counterfeit Creation, copyright 1965, 1980, 1981, Summit University Press. Why would you want to listen to and or read these releases? Because the message in them is as important now, or even more so, as when it was originally delivered. The message is serious and ought to be taken seriously. The mechanical, non-human creation, not created by God ones, are among us and have been for thousands of years. We have taken on their consciousness to some degree and must free ourselves from it. Prayer and working on our psychology are two ways of doing this. But first, we must be aware of what the mechanical consciousness is. These releases by the Great Divine Director are for this purpose. What makes this so relevant at this time? If you are following the news of the development of robots for every conceivable purpose, then is it not curious that this is made to seem a new development? As these current robots are portrayed, they are obviously mechanical. Yet, just as obvious from the Great Divine Director teachings is the fact that the robots that have been on the earth for thousands of years appear like humans. We don't know the difference. Then why is it important to make us think this is a new advanced development? Something to ponder. The Great Divine Director is a cosmic being with many offices in the spiritual hierarchy. For example, he is a member of the karmic board in which he represents the first ray of God power. He is known as the Great Divine Director because he has merged his consciousness with the cosmic cycles of God's divine plan for untold universes of light. Great Divine Director is a title of an office in the cosmic hierarchy, given to the one who, by virtue of diligent application over the eons, focuses within his causal body the formula of the ascension for the children of God and the sons and daughters of the Most High evolving in this cosmos. The causal body is the spiritual part of us in which is stored our attainment, all merit we have ever accrued, our treasures stored in heaven. The Great Divine Director's causal body is a giant blue sphere that surrounds the entire planet. Thus, his attainment of cosmic consciousness qualifies him to ensoul the flame of divine direction on behalf of Earth's evolutions and untold lifeways beyond. The Great Divine Director long ago passed those initiations that placed him at cosmic levels of service and qualified him to become the Manu of the seventh root race. A Manu embodies the archetype for an entire life wave of souls who will incarnate on Earth at a certain period, including the divine image and likeness out of which they are made and the pattern of their destiny. The seventh root race is destined to embody first in South America under the Great Divine Director, and so he presides spiritually over the continent of South America. He is then the lawgiver and sponsor of the seventh root race, the one who holds the blueprint for the entire race of the souls who begin their embodiment in the age of Aquarius that is now dawning. Godfrey Ray King, author of the book, The Magic Presence, describes the Great Divine Director in it. This majestic being stood fully 6 feet 4 inches in height, with wavy hair that fell to his shoulders and looked like sunshine on gold. His robes glittered with points of light like jewels that flashed continually with the tremendous radiance of the power held under his control and obedient to his conscious direction. The girdle encircling his waist was a mass of sapphires and diamonds. From it hung a panel to a few inches below the knees. This also was a mass of jewels. End of quote. The great divine director has said, I pray that you will call to me, for I have within my consciousness the scroll of the divine plan for every living soul on Terra and in the vast beyond. The Mechanization Concept, a manifesto by the great divine director, Part V, Vision. To sons and daughters of vision who will seize the torch of illumined action and run with it, recognizing that if they do not, the people who have neither the vision nor the torch will surely perish, for the little children who place their hands trustingly in His have a right to see God face to face in trustworthy servant sons. Where there is no vision, the people perish. Momentous words when understood, but seldom understood. Think now, blessed ones, shall men halt content that they have known all the works of God, and that all truth is already revealed? What a shroud, a smothering of progress is this! Fear has done this thing, O mankind, and it is his bonds that we would break. Those who as little children place their hands trustingly in the hands of God know that His truth is their shield and buckler, the strong arm of righteousness. Surely the limited vision of man's present theology should not be one with which men are content. Consider the many areas of destiny upon which religion is silent. Consider also the manifold mysteries which challenge man's consciousness. Are people to treat themselves as animals and test themselves within a maze of problems based on a theology recorded in mere creed or rote? To prescribe infinity with finite bands is far worse than attempting to catch Niagara Falls in a teacup. The mighty onrush of infinity would wash away the film of reason from the mind of man, and therefore God, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, has gently tempered the wind to the shorn lamb. Again and again the wisdom of God is revealed from beginning unto beginning. Even while His noblest purposes are revealed by the great masters of wisdom, men seek on wings of scorn swiftly to carry those who think not as they do to an impaling spike. I say, in mercy's name, let strands of holy tolerance be woven through the planetary consciousness of all who seek God. The mysteries of God are not gained in an instant. How shall they fathom the depths of His matchless wisdom who would keep it for themselves? Those who seek this holy privilege ought to give it graciously unto others. Much of that which is labeled as acceptable truth by mankind today was once regarded as heresy. The acceptable sacrifice of Abel was not honored by Cain. The dreams of Joseph were not honorably recognized by his brethren. The old prophets were stoned in Israel and beaten and even sawn asunder. The tortures from which the mind would quail were practiced upon them at the instigation of the wicked. Every age has known its martyrs. Some were sons of God and men of holy truth, whereas others were also exploiters of mankind. Yet the infinite purposes must not be scorned. I cite here examples of the passions of men who in past ages rejected truth, which is revealed unto them through the holy men of God. Ancient superstition, even to the present hour, holds men in bondage, and thus they attribute to evil the release of pure truth, and accept as from the hand of God that which bears the taint of the shadowed ones. And those who masquerade as angels of light still practice to deceive, and men still vilify the true sons of God. Man stands as in a quandary then, and cries out, How shall I know? I am certain that a word to the wise is sufficient, and I hope also that a word from the truly wise will be sufficient to those who require it. Not all who cry, Lord, Lord, do the will of God, but those who do, serving to the best of their ability, will be accorded by the Father of all that just recognition which the law also conveys to the righteous. I am my brother's keeper is the fulfillment of the law, but not in blind attachment or sympathy, for the latter phase of human error is a mechanical tie, a pull upon the passions of men who see in the failures of others the possibilities of their own personal loss, and by the bond of sympathy they are pulled in a downward spiral into the maelstrom of imperfection. Compassion is otherwise. It would extend assistance to those who desire it and seek to rise, and mercy to the fallen, but not at any price. There ought to be some longing or desire in all, some spark of hope or faith and answers call from God on high. For men were born not to die, but to live, and live again on higher plane, until the soul, no longer vain, might pierce the veil of human pain, and see the clearer counterpane, the window to a heaven above, where reigns the Father of all love, whose holy breath does ever flow to all mankind here below, and sees within their heart of flame a Christly banner never vain, whose every act will men redeem and lift them to a fairer scene. O gracious ones, the hour has come when a sense of cosmic vigor must enter into the affairs of mankind to arouse them from their vain mechanical attitudes and to teach them the efficacy of divine grace as God in action here below. If it were possible, heaven itself would have almost exhausted its toleration of men's errors on this planet. Time after time, civilizations have arisen and fallen. Wonderful cultures have existed, of which but a vestige remains. Men have builded anew again and again upon the rubble of olden worlds, and only the few have been able to see and retain the vision. Now then, I would transmute to those who are ready to receive it by a spiritual capsulation a treasury of heavenly wisdom. But I am fully aware that there are many who will not be able to accept this idea. I do not chastise those who cannot accept it, but I have made here an offer. If you will call to your divine presence on those occasions when you seem to have nothing else to do, and ask me, in your own style, O great divine director, let me have this treasure of knowledge about life, I will do my part to release to you this capsule of holy wisdom. Thus I will be able to impart to you a vision not recorded on the printed page, and I do not wish you to think that I refer here to a mere dream or a picture appearing before you. I am referring here to an inward sense or vision of the cosmos, which is spiritually oriented and cannot be classified in accordance with ordinary human knowledge. The spiritual power of vision is a gift which I extend to those able to receive it for one reason alone, in order for them to understand in a higher way many of the laws of the cosmos which I have imparted in this series. Some of you may recall that the Christ, prior to his passing from the screen of life in the ritual of his ascension, did say unto his apostles, Receive ye the Holy Ghost. Whosoever sins ye remit, they are remitted unto them, and whosoever sins ye retain, they are retained. That which I seek to do, then, is to transmit unto you the power of divine vision that will enable you to derive even greater satisfaction than you have ever had before from the pearls of wisdom and from the instruction of the ascended masters. Heaven would enhance for mankind every opportunity of a spiritual nature. The raging of the battle at outer levels is very great, precious ones. The lack of vision in the world is so glaringly apparent. It is garish with muddied colors. It is dissonant with the drum beats of the jungle. It is crass with inanity and absurdity. It is shattering with discord and hopelessness. It is putrid with human filth and degradation. It is vile with the stench of unreasoning minds fidgeting in darkness. The time has come for the children of God to shine as the sun in the midst of all this human wretchedness, and then I think a greater power of example in purity, a greater example of power in brotherliness, a greater example of power in spirituality will enable men to heal, to cast out demons, to cleanse the lepers, even to raise the dead, and to fulfill the Christ mission now in a greatly expanded vision of divine grace which exceeds all the expectations of material science and the intricacies of human thought and reasoning. Truly, the rod of the Christ, the power of God unto salvation, as Aaron's rod of old, will swallow up the magician's rod cast down in imitation of the victory of the pure winged caduceus. For expanded vision with Mercurian speed to all, I am the great divine director.